Here we go. What's up? Day 10, everybody. Um, Shit, man. I did, what is it, the 30-day challenge. So I'm a third of the way there on this 30-day thing. But fuck, I got a long way to go on 75 hard. That is for sure. Um, Man, I got up super early. Well, not super early. 8 o'clock, which is early for me. But I still like fuck, man. It takes so long. I know I complain about the time all the time, but it is 1:30, and the only thing I've done is go to the gym, eat, do my outside workout, shower, and now this. It's gonna be two. That's 6 hours late. Like what? I mean, did I dilly dally at the gym? Like, what am I doing? Jerking off for like an hour and a half? I like what is going on? I'm like I'm always at a loss with how fast the day moves and like how quickly I'm out of time. I do it's funny to me when people uh say they've been bored cuz I just like I don't think I've been bored in I don't know, a decade, 2 decades. Like like I have so much shit that I want to do and I can do. And honestly, there are a few times where I don't. There's plenty of times where I don't do shit, but it's like I'm so tired of doing shit that I just want to fucking veg or I just want to drink and get drunk for the day, go to bars, talk to people. But like I am never bored. And I guess if you, I mean, they say this might this would hurt some feelings if anybody watched this, but they say if you're bored, you're boring, and I do think that's probably true. I can't imagine like just sitting around like not having anything to do. Like I wish I had time to play video games. Like and I guess you could say playing video games is like what you do out of boredom, but like at least you're not bored. Then you're playing video games. It's fucking fun. I love video games. But I just am like, dude, if I get a video game system, like I'm not gonna get anything done. Yeah, I don't. Fuck, man. I wish. Sometimes I do wish that I wasn't chasing a bunch of shit and I could just veg out, watch TV shows, catch up on whatever, play some video games. But no, there's like, I mean, I do watch TV shows sometimes. Like, I'm not some fucking machine. I definitely fuck off quite a bit. And I like fucking off. I really do. I just, during this period, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to stay focused on some shit. But I'm going to have periods of time to fuck off. Um, yeah. Anyway, I got most of my shit done today, and my knee is feeling a lot better. I've been using this like some sort of CBD cream that I bought from some hippie lady that sells locally, and it seems to be helping a bit. Been doing stretches on it. I've been doing some knee strengthening exercises on it. Just getting them knees real strong. And so, fuck. Um, I hate to keep talking about the same shit. I'm sure I eventually will think about other things. I watched this documentary today. I posted it on my Facebook, but it's called How the Occupation of the American Mind. And it's about how ever since the formation of Israel, it's just about like how they, like when they formed after World War II, they kicked a lot of the Palestinians out of the land. Eventually, they had like their first war in '48 over the like with the Arab states and Israel trying to fight over the land, and then because they went ahead and took like certain borders that were proposed but never agreed upon. So then they were just like, fuck it, we're going to take it. And then they had a war over it, kicked all the Palestinians out, and that became the borders. Eventually, like in 67, they came up with these agreed upon borders, and Israel got like 78% of the land, even though they had a third of the people. Fucking nuts. But anyway, it talks more about how the more that Israel did different attacks on Gaza and the West Bank and stuff, the more like public public, I guess, just view of them was turning against them, and they're like, we can't have that. We need the support of America. So they went on. They figured out a way to propagandize us, and so there's all this. The documentary goes through a bunch of it. There was this guy named Frank Luntz, I think, that they hired, who had done the Miller Lite commercials. And this is something I learned. Apparently Miller Lite was a chick beer back in the day, and it was like marketed to females and was considered a feminine beer. And they realized they weren't competing with some of the the masculine beers, so they needed to come up with a campaign to make Miller Lite a masculine beer. And so Frank Luntz or Ed Luntz, I don't know. You have to watch the documentary. It's something Luntz, I think, or Dunce. No, I guess he's a really smart guy. But this guy, definitely helped Miller Lite change their image to be more masculine. And so Israel hired him to help change Israel's image in the American eye to be more of the victim and less of the oppressor. And so he kind of trained all the media personalities and people that would go on talking about figured out how to be like, oh yeah, we just need to talk about how we're under attack all the time, and we're always acting out of defense, even though they ended up just like going into Gaza here and there. I think it was like 2008. I mean, there was like all these different times through history, but in 2008 they had already had a ceasefire with Hamas, who was like one of the parties at the time, or I guess they were the leading party at that time, but they had a ceasefire for like 4 months or 6 months. Nothing had been happening, and then Israel just like went in and bombed the shit out of them and like killed like, I don't know, 1,500 people or something in one day. And then so when people are like, oh, it's all unprovoked, I'm like, come on. But you can definitely find that information outside of our media. But anyway, the documentary is just really interesting of how they then used these different like propaganda and talking points, and then like brushed certain subjects under the rug, and would always distract and go to these other talking points. And so that's why we in the States really only get one side of a story. And it's not to say there's not truth on either side of the story. Like, I'm sure there are two sides to every story, but we really only get one side of the story, and it's always Israel good, Palestine, Hamas, everything bad, and that's all we've been fed for decades. But then they also talk about AIPAC and how they came in and started lobbying, and they basically pay off most of Congress. And so, yeah, it's funny because they're like not registered as a foreign entity, even though they are an Israel lobby. And I guess is a little conspiratorial, but JFK, right before he was assassinated, he was on a mission to make AIPAC register as a foreign agency, which means they can't give any money, because no other country can give money to Congress. They can't lobby, they can't do whatever, because like that would influence our country. So it would make sense that we wouldn't allow foreign money to influence our elected leaders. And the only exception is Israel, which is very, very interesting. But anyway, I watched that documentary this morning. So that was pretty cool. And then just getting caught up on news. Fridays are my day that I try to just stick to myself and get a bunch of shit done. I am going to be working on editing my podcast for Monday. I did start trying this AI platform for my clips, in hopes of getting more clips out a little faster and better. It's not perfect, but I am doing my best to escape perfectionism and just work on getting shit out there more frequently. I do have a fuck ton of organizing and cleaning left to do. This weekend I have I still got to edit Lindsay's video for this charity event. I was thinking about going to a comedy show tonight, and it's like it's not, I don't know if it's an improv. I guess it's called an improv show, but it's not an open mic. It's where some of the established comedians in the area, they all take turns pulling like subjects out of a bowl, and then they have like a minute or 2 minutes to riff off it and see how it goes. I was thinking about going it just to meet some of like the locals and try to get a feel for what the scene is like, but I don't know, man. Maybe I'll just go to an open mic night and just give it a wing, or like at least watch. I have yet to decide. Maybe if I get a bunch of shit done. But yeah, we worked last night. It was pretty busy. I do have bad news. Penn State did lose to Notre Dame, and it's weird because I was always a Penn State fan. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, and even after it was found out that Sandusky's doing all the diddling, I still support the Penn State football team. I don't support the diddling, but that was a big blow to the Penn State program for sure. And Joe Paterno was involved and apparently knew about everything, and that was a big bummer. He was like a god among men to everybody in Pennsylvania. Like when I was growing up, everybody fucking loved Joe Pa. And he like could do no wrong. So when that shit all came out, people were just like, what the fuck? And I watched that documentary about Joe Paterno, and I was just like, oof, it's pretty rough. Or like it's like the, what do you call a documentary that's like played by characters and stuff? I don't know. But anyway, so their program has definitely come back over the years, and they did really well this year. And so I watched more football this year and got more involved and like more excited about it than I have in fucking 2 decades. I used to watch football when I was in college, when I lived in Alabama, and like seeing Alabama and Auburn play, that was pretty fun. That was an exciting rivalry in such a football area. But I just kind of like lost interest over the years. But this year is pretty cool. And if we would have won yesterday, we would have went to the national championship, which would be amazing. It was a really good game, super close. But we ended up like with 40 seconds left or whatever, throwing a fucking interception. Whereas, like, we're driving down the field, all we need to do is get a field goal, and we would have won. And we threw a fucking interception. Like, I do think that it is, you know, when it's like you have 40 seconds left or something, you're, like, trying to take risks to try to get, like, you don't want it to go to overtime. You're trying to get your team in a position where you can kick that field goal. So you got to, like, make these hard passes. But, dude, this guy, threw when this guy was just fully covered, threw the football, and the guy's like way ahead of the guy it's intended to, the defender, and so he just like snags it like so easily. It's like straight to the defender. So yeah, it was a pretty easy pick and such a terrible throw. I'm sure he is gonna get blamed for that one for sure, because then now Notre Dame had the football and they drove down, you know, the field just a little bit, got into like, I don't know, 30-yard range or whatever, 20 yards, spiked it, kicked the field goal, they're ahead, they win. So I think there was like 7 seconds left after they scored the field goal. So Penn State still had the opportunity to return to do like one more drive up the field. And they started doing that thing where, you know, like you can pass, I don't even know what they call it, like lateral passing, where as long as they like pass it backwards, they can throw the ball as many times as they want. But yeah, there was just no way they're going to get it. So it was a good game though. I'm not that involved where it like upset me, but maybe I'll watch more next year. I'll get like a Penn State jersey or something. I don't know. It seems a little weird that I could be a football guy again. I mean, I never was a football guy, but I enjoyed it. I never wear jerseys. That seems like a little much. I think fantasy is pretty cool. A lot of my friends are in fantasy football, and it does seem like a way to be involved, shit talk with your friends, and I love there. I was gonna do a thumb pointer, but then I did a finger pointer, and then I have 2 points. So shit talk with your friends. I don't even know what that was, but yeah. So you should talk with your friends. Also, every game is important because you probably have like you have members on your team are members all over the NFL. So it's a good way to get everybody engaged in every game. So I'm sure that was a smart way to bring up viewership. And it's a fun way to like care more about each game, even if it's not your fucking team. So I think that's cool. I just don't have the fucking time, dude. I swear, like, some people are just like so involved with football. I don't get it. Like, I'm like, how do you know all these stats and things about them? Like, how do you have the time to keep up with all these games? It's crazy. Like, there's a huge ass universe. Yeah, I just don't have the time. But I am excited. I started writing this song in the shower. The shower seems to be like my best. I would say the shower is very good for jerking it, cleaning yourself, and creativity. Those are my top 3 shower things. So take note. Jerking it, cleaning it, and creating it. No, I mean, yeah, but I write a lot of songs in the shower, and it's just I recently went back to like not listening to anything in the shower, and I also have been doing that on my walks outside. It's just like don't receive any information, don't listen to a podcast, don't listen to a book, just sit with your thoughts. Sam actually talked about it on the podcast that I'm going to release, and he's just like, yeah, your heart rate's elevated, your blood's flowing, so it's a really good time for like mental processing and clarity. You can kind of talk through your own problems, and so I took his advice, and it has been really cool. Like, I realize I need to spend some time with my own thoughts, just, working through my own problems, working through, talking to myself about what I'm dealing with, or you just hash out ideas, etc. But so I used to be listening to podcasts in the shower, and I'm like, so now I just leave it silence, just get in there, and like I'll start humming a tune or whatever, and sometimes I just get some really fucking good ideas. So I had this really cool song idea today, and it got me inspired. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I really need to start making music again. So, I mean, that's kind of been my plan, but within the week, I think I'm going to buy a Logic and a nice pair of studio headphones and start fucking around with some of these ideas. And there's one song I'm working on that I'm really passionate about that I want to kind of finish, and if it's going to take me too long to make the beat and really figure it out, I might hire out some help locally. So I have a couple ideas there, but that's going to be some exciting. I would love it if by the end of the year I've put out a couple songs or even a couple choruses. That would be really cool to me, to be back at making some tunes again. I've been playing in a band for a bit, but doing some of my own shit would be really cool. So anyway, day fucking 10. I still got to read yet and drink some water, but other than that, we got all my shit done. I can actually work on some of my other stuff. So fuck, dude, time commitment is brutal. Anyway, if you're listening, if you have any questions, shoot a comment, follow the channel. You can check out the podcast on the channel too. So I will chat tomorrow. Peace.